Let me start playing.
Hello in English, that's where we begin. Hola from Spain, let the rhythm sink in. Bonjour from France, with a kiss on each cheek. Ciao from Italia, where the words always speak. Say hello around the globe, let's go. Hello from Germany, the vibe will flow. Konnichiwa, Japan, with a bow so neat. Annyeong Korea, where the heart beats me. Namaste India, with hands pressed tight. Salam from Arabia, shining so bright. Ni hao China, with a wave so grand. Jumbo Africa, feel the warmth of the land. It's a world of colors, a world of sound. Every hello has its own sweet ground. We're all connected, no matter how far. Each greeting's a melody, lighting the star. Say hello around the globe, let's go. Hello from Germany, the vibe will flow. Konnichiwa, Japan, with a bow so neat. Annyeong Korea, where the heart beats me. Annyeong Korea, where the heart beats me. Private from Russia, with a chill in the air. Shalom from Israel, with love to share. Salbona, South Africa, hello my friend. Every word's a circle, it will never end. It's a world of colors, a world of sound. Every hello has its own sweet ground. We're all connected, no matter how far. Each greeting's a melody, lighting the star. Private from Russia, with a chill in the air. Shalom from Israel, with love to share. Sawubona, South Africa, hello my friend. Every word's a circle, it will never end. Heartbeats, heartbeat, where the heart beats me. Annyeong Korea, where the heart beats me. Annyeong Korea, where the heart beats me. Annyeong Korea, where the heart beats me.
Vivian, thanks for the intro and thanks for your wonderful informative talk. So I have a few more things on the list, and so I think we can blend this in nicely. And just checking, can you hear me well? Okay, if there is an issue, please just throw it out there. I feel for you, Vivian. I had this last week, and we just, yeah, go with the punches. We just roll with that. So let's go. So I'm really happy to be here today, and my usual style is to be pretty interactive. So I have a couple of, slides prepared, but not that many, same as Vivian. And yeah, let's be interactive, throw in your thoughts, questions, etc. And let's make it as much fun as it can be. So let me share briefly the slides here, and I hope you can see that. Is that all visible? Perfect. Thanks for the thumbs up, Arafat. If there's anything, just let me know. So today, the topic leading from within, and it thinks, yeah, it ties in nicely with Vivian's topic before. So it's really cultivating your mindset and resilience in turbulent times. And actually, you see the headline on top, your mind is your best friend, but it can also be your worst enemy. Actually, that's not a saying which I brought up. It's I borrowed it from Shiza Chamin, actually, who works a lot with positive intelligence. However, I thought it's really, really a good title here. And I like to join Vivian a little bit with some experiences I had over the last 3 quarters of a year. Not sharing details here, however, was thrown as a massive health issue within the family. And actually, I thought I have a déjà vu of my life, like from 14 years ago, when to a similar thing, actually, my father passed away. And from one day to the other, actually, the life was just turned upside down for myself and for the rest of the family. So, where I had to experience what can happen if you think you have worked something out, and actually, that's sometimes not the case, and things show up again, and then your mind just tricks yourself actually if you don't start having a look at yourself and a certain, structures your mind actually created for yourself. So let me hop on, and here you see, what do you see here on this picture actually? Who are we actually? If we have a look at the tree over there, what do you see there? And you can interact, you can just open your microphone or you type something into the chat. What do you see?
Tree
I
at
see
the
a
edge of a
beautiful.
cliff.
Yeah?
A Mission Impossible tree at the edge of glacier.
Mission Impossible tree. Okay, what else? You see a tree. What do you
Yeah,
see?
a tree at the edge of a cliff.
Yes. Anything else?
A tree and a mountain. What is it on the back? Is it a mountain or a glass? I don't know what it is.
Maybe.
An icy mountain. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. And if we consider that the tree is yourself, what do you see? And what do you not see actually? What can't we see here in this picture? If we think the tree is ourselves, we are the tree.
Oh, actually, I see you are alone, but you are. I see a rich. How do you say in English? Chioma. Someone who speaks English. Maybe Alessandro. Can you help me? How do you say chioma dell'albero in English? So you see, the tree is very, it's yourself, you are alone, but you see a lot of, how can I say, leaves. It's the, well, in Italian we say chioma. I don't know, now I can't think about the word in English, but it's
corresponding in English anyway. It's hair, like hair, very hairy, very fluffy, very, yeah.
Very bushy.
Bushy.
Very bushy.
bushy.
Exactly.
Okay, so thanks.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. Yeah, actually, you're all right. So you see here tree, it looks like the tree itself, if we consider the tree a person, has a very strong, trunk, is maybe very energetic, looks very healthy, has lots of nice colorful green leaves. Yeah. So what we do not see, if we take the picture of the tree for a person as a metaphor, so to speak, is, we see everything what is above the surface, but not what is below the surface. So what we are made up, how we have been raised, what our values are, what our experiences are, what kind of family members we have, how, our values actually. We see parts of ourselves, but often we do not dive into the in-depth and see, what is beyond the surface, and what might be lying there underneath, and which often creates the structures Vivian talked about before, about the neuroplasticity as well. So from the moment we are born, we are raised up, etc. So we create so many structures within ourselves that we slowly have this, strong roots, strong, boundaries. We create a skill set. We might have different roles in our life, regardless of the professional part of our life, you know, as well, like in sense of the family, friends, things we learned, we have been a student, etc., etc. So we all hold multiple roles in our life, and many things are visible from the outside, but the majority is not. And so often we do not really have a close look at ourselves as well, to really think, are there things we might have an even deeper look to see what is the structure we created in order to really work on that, change that structure, that behavior which results out of the structure, in order to have really a different resilience, a different awareness, in order to cope with our challenges in life in a different way, actually. So let me just hop on. Some people might be a little bit familiar with the positive intelligence here. I don't want to go too far into details, as well, Vivian, you have shared before a little bit around the neuroplasticity. I just like to say here that we can, if we very, very much simplify this, actually, we could divide, and I know it's overly simplified, but we have parts in our brain, you know, the oldest part, the limbic system, which is located in the left brain side, where we have structures which are very valuable to ourselves, because they ensure as well our survival. They're really, really helpful for ourselves. However, sometimes over the course of the life until adulthood, we might create the structures that after being, let's say, mature, are not anymore serving ourselves so much. So they are called the saboteurs, actually, or I call them sometimes, you know, as well, the inner critical voices, etc. However you call them, actually, they were created in order to really secure our emotional stability as well, and that we are able to cope with situations which we emotionally were not that much able to when we were smaller, like children, etc., etc. So we all have this, no matter if you have a really great, beautiful childhood or if it was more challenging, we all created these kind of structures. And on the other side, you know, if we have a look at the right side, we call it like, there's the sage power, there's this, really powerful inner self, which can motivate ourselves through more positive emotions. It's located in the right brain side, middle prefrontal cortex. And there we can see a totally different pictures of challenging situations. We can come up with creative solutions. We have curiosity, passion, etc., etc. So this one is very simplified here, talking about emotions in, let's say, like a negative sense and a positive sense. Usually I emphasize emotions are all good as they are, just regarding this model here. Some are more serving, some are less serving if we stay there too long. So just keep in mind, we have some voices once we are adult that are not always currently serving ourselves, and we should have a closer look at, actually. So in my example with this massive health issue, I thought, you know, I had worked on that self when my father passed away. I was good with that, and actually when the similar situation came up, I came to the realization that my mind actually tricked myself, because that was not the case. So I had a really great fear and a very high anxiety of losing and being there by myself. So that was not much fun. So definitely realized, okay, I needed to have a closer look what is going on there in order to move to the other side, to be more resilient here. So let's have a look here at our 8 core or 8 basic emotions here. And you can see here a model, actually, that's the London Protocol of Emotions from Brown, where you can see from sadness over shame, disgust, anger, and fear, which are like dark blue to the reddish part, which, you know, have a very, very big impact as well on the cortisol level when we tap into these emotions. And you see as well the word stress there. So if we have a high sense of cortisol level, it has as well a very negative impact on our body, on our health as well. And the more we move to the right side, so we see stress more as an energizer than motivator, and then we switch from cortisol as well to the dopamine, serotonin, and the oxytocin, which is like this bonding hormone. So these 8 emotions, including surprise, excitement, joy, trust, and love, are the 8 basic emotions here we can think of. As a love interaction here, I really invite you to think of a time or an event, and it goes in the same direction of you, Vivian, you know, and I don't judge here, I don't rate. Stress is perceived very different from person to person. So what I think is maybe not stressful for me might be very stressful for Arafat, actually, or for some of my colleagues here in the room. So that's absolutely neutral. So stress, yeah, how we see stress is very, very individualized, and we can never compare, because we all cope differently with this, and we're equipped with different strategies around. However, so here I would love you as well to think of a time or a situation which was a really challenging situation for yourself. Again, it might be a similar situation you thought of when Vivian shared it, or you can come up with a different one. But what was the emotion, the feelings you had within yourself when you, either way, you're still experiencing the emotion right now because the event is currently present, or if you go back and have a look at the past. So, and you can type the chat or use the chat and type it into the chat as well, or you can just unmute yourself and throw it in.
I would say when I, well, apart from losing my job, which was very, very dramatic, but also when I got separated, because I was married and I separated after many years of living together with this person, and then everything was just over. So it was very, very stressful, in my opinion.
Very stressful. What's the emotion attached to that? If you have a look at this, at the 8 basic emotions.
So I don't want to be exaggerate, but I would say the emotion, it was rage. I hate. Well, I know it's very, very heavy, but this is what I felt. So I can't be unearnest with myself. So this was my feeling at the time.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. I really acknowledge that, and really be authentic, be honest there, because it's really healthy to acknowledge this emotion as well. Hopeless. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. Hopelessness. Yeah. We can really feel that. Anything else? I saw from Alessandro, surprise, startle. Yeah, different emotion here. Let's say, I don't want to say, it's an emotion, and the emotions are good as they are. The important is to really have a closer look at this.
Sure.
So you still have the event, the time in your mind, and here, just sharing, you know, on this side where you see like the sadness, shame, disgust, anger, fear, it's really like we as human beings, we like to escape often, to avoid, to really, I don't want to have a look at. And just sharing, I think as well, that was on that note, that I didn't really have so much, of a look at the grief I experienced with my father and everything what was going on there, actually, which somehow I felt, yeah, that's all good. I digested it. And somehow it turned out that I just parked it somewhere, and all of a sudden it was all back, and it put me in a very, very heavy place, actually. So here, the notion is really have a look at the emotions and really have a good look at what is going on within yourself, and not, just ignoring. Just take your time, really have a look, because there's so much value in acknowledging, diving into this feeling, and having a look from, maybe a little bit from outside, in order to really be able to see, okay, how can you integrate this? What is this feeling telling you? How can you work with this in order to, go as well later on to the other side again, and to grow with this, to find your inner strengths with this. And now you see the picture turned upside down, actually. So what happens actually when all of a sudden something is going to be thrown at you? We all know life happens, and we can't avoid that. And luckily, life can be very, very interesting, and sometimes it's very challenging. However, we always grow with all the things happening to us, and we can always see an opportunity in difficult situations. Sometimes it's a little bit more in the retro perspective, but there are always opportunities to grow here. And I like to share here as well, just let me turn the pictures on the other side here. Often our behaviors, our reactions as well, deeply embedded in different structures, which are related to a couple of different dimensions. We experience through, we have been raised up. So that's really the, I like to mention here the dimension of power and hierarchy. So the question is, how do we usually cope with power and hierarchy? Are we more in favor of, I'm in control of everything myself? I love flat hierarchies. I love to be in a collective system. I have absolutely no issue if somebody throws things to me. Or do I need a lot of freedom for myself? So for instance, if I come quickly back to my own personal example, I have a very, very high sense of freedom and being in control, actually, about many things in my own life. And if there are things which are out of this control, which is the case, if there is like an illness present somewhere in the family, then this is really a clash, and then I needed to have a look at what structures are here, what structures are serving me, and what might I need to integrate in a different way in order to really cope differently with this and to be more resilient in that sense. Sometimes relationships, how we internalize relationships, what relationships need to ourselves, what we experienced when we were smaller, coming back to family structures as well, or our ancestors. And this all deeply embedded in ourselves, and create structures and create a picture how we actually see the world, and how we interact with other people around us, and how we ultimately lead ourselves and others in that sense. So here it really comes to the questions, what is important here for you? How do you see this dimension? Which information gives this to you in sense of when a challenge arises? Is this the structure, the behavior you have deeply embedded in yourself? Is this serving yourself for this challenge? Or is this, let's say, more an additional hurdle then? Does it make things even more difficult? So these are some dimensions which are really important to have a closer look at as well, where you really dive deeper into yourself, discover far more about your own self, about your inner structures, behaviors you created over the time, and really ask yourself, is this still in service of myself? Is this the truth I want to hold for the future? Or do I need to come up with new structures, new anchors, and start changing some of them because you need to have a different structure for the challenges and in order to lead yourself here. Just one quote I like to state here from Brené Brown. So authenticity is the daily practice of letting go of who we think we're supposed to be and embracing who we really are. So often we think, oh, we have this picture of ourselves, others thinks, okay, this is all great, you present this, this, and this. And then maybe our own saboteur versus us was so present actually that we think, we know who we are and maybe we just need to let go of all of this and really see, I'm a human being, I'm as good as I am, I don't need to be perfect, nobody is perfect. I can say, I have structures, I'm resilient, but there are things in life where I need to have help with as well. So really throw this overboard, have a really close look at yourself as well in order to start leading from within and really grow far and beyond. There's a lot of things to discover about yourself. So here I just like to share a little bit resilience tool. There are really, really many out there. I just like to invite you. What was massively helpful for myself was the journaling questions, which I came across with when I faced this challenge, and I'm still using them on a daily basis actually. Are a few questions there what I'm really worried about. Is this really a worry? Do I need to worry about this, or is my mind just tricking me at this point? These couple of questions really give me and give you the opportunity as well to do a quick body check-in, to push the pause button, maybe just for a few minutes, to sit down with a pen and a paper, just go over this and ask what I'm presently sad about. Is there anybody who has annoyed me today and how? And a good question, which I believe is really important as well, what does my body want? Is there anything my body needs to be taken care of? Do I need a pause? What is still lovely here in the here and now? So to really pause. I like to give you as well 2 exercises you can use if you wish to. That's the Wheel of Resilience. You can create this, and there are a couple of dimensions you can read here. We can as well distribute the slides afterwards. So this can help you with the challenges you are facing. You can put the challenge in the middle, for instance, and say, okay, are there a couple of these widgets which I can really dive into where I have lots of capacity, where I already have something, or are there things I need to really top up? For instance, for my own challenge, I noticed over the last couple of weeks that I need far more self-care for myself actually. So this was running low, so I say, okay, I need to use this wedge more and really to consider what can I do in order to have more energy back. So that's a really good exercise as well, where you just need a pen and a piece of paper. You can jot down the wedges and really dive into this and see what is available for you there. Another exercise I like to introduce as well, which gives you a chance to create your own tree of your life for your future self, is to create, to really draw the tree, see what are your roots and which kind of branches and leaves you would like to see, and which kind of branches or leaves you might need to let go of as well. And last but not least, there is as well this powerful breathing technique, which really can calm down your nervous system, and where when you do this for 1 or 2 minutes, really you can quieten your inner self, and this gives you the energy back that you can think from a different perspective on the situation. So that's the 5-6-8 breathing technique. I believe many might have heard, maybe not. So just breathe in, count up to 5, then you just pause and you keep the air inside up to 6, and then you exhale until the count of 8, and then you can repeat this. And with this, I just like to stop sharing here and leave the Q&A for the rest of the speakers as well. And I see there are a couple of comments as well. And yeah, that's true. So from Cecilia as well, if this happens, you're totally disoriented. Yes, you are. Absolutely. I agree on that, Cecilia. That's actually, you don't know anymore where you are at, and you just need somehow to function, because that's important as well. And then this functioning overrides lots of other things, and getting out and getting back on track definitely needs a lot of time, and it's a journey. And that's what I want to share as well. It's a journey. So resilience is nothing, which happens overnight. And Vivian shared this as well before. It's not an easy journey, actually. It takes time. Be gentle with yourself as well. Use a couple of the techniques. And often it's very, very helpful to, maybe work with one of our professional coaches in the room as well together to find out more about yourself and your own structures and with all the events we encounter in our lives. And with this, I love to hand over to my lovely fellow located in Mexico, I call you George. I have really struggled with pronouncing that Jorge correctly, so apologize for that. So you are the Holigral method facilitator, and he serves as a global technical coordinator for the Holigral partnership. Creators of an innovative and disruptive approach to psychology, which understands the deep underlying structures of mind which operate in people and organizations alike. His practice ranges from clinical psychology, human development, mentoring, and as organizational consultant in Mexico. His work based in trauma resolution provides models and tools which enables his client to engage in deep experiences of self-discovery, healing, and knowledge, attaining the integration of inner resources and thus optimizing life experience at every level or niche. He delivers transformational retreats for individuals and presently he also collaborates with a consultancy firm which provides organizational resources to leading corporations in the logistics, oil, and agro-industrial sectors in Mexico. And he is such an inspiration. So I'm looking forward to give the stage to you, George.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much to all. Your warm welcome here is appreciated. And thanks, Sarafat, for setting up this magnificent event once again. And I give you a warm welcome to this presentation. What we'll be searching for today, it's an understanding into a very elusive, mysterious, yet important aspect of our lives, and which I feel it's going to be the continuation of a great presentations from Eike and Florian. So if you follow with this particular presentation, let me just get rid of the, otherwise I cannot see. Thanks. The presentation I'm giving, it's about an inner state of being, which I called the knowing. It is a jewel of discernment. This particular state of beingness, it's the natural way of every human being and the promise from a great and wonderful life. When I was working in this presentation, the first thing that came into my mind, it was that the word mindset, which is the most important element of this chat, it's also relating to different terms, which has also the same word. So I began exploring in the dictionary so I could understand a broader context of what is it that mind means and what is it that mind represents to all of us. So the following words, I found them in the Merriam Dictionary, Cambridge Dictionary, and a little bit of our helping hand, Google AI. First, I looked after the word fixed mindset, which it is a fixed state of mind. As we have learned from presentators before, it is the way that we can fix our state of mind into a particular emotion like confidence, like trust, like tolerance, in order to perform better. We can also fix our mind into a particular activity, just like the sportsmanship do, in order to top perform in their sports. Then I found another term, which is mindful, which is a conscious or being conscious or aware of something, focusing one's awareness into the present moment. This relates to the meditative practice of mindfulness, which allows us to have the most full and wholeness experience at the present time. Unfortunately, that awareness is conscious, and we have to understand that what really runs the show is the unconscious mind. Nevertheless, it's highly valuable for our well-being. Then there is the word mind frame, which is a mental attitude or lookout. We can understand mind frame as our mind boxes, which constrain our reality or our sense of reality, and all the behaviors that can happen within that frame. Then I found the word remind, which is to put in mind of something, a cause to remember. For example, please, Arafat, remind me that the presentation is 25 minutes, otherwise I might extend the time without minding. Mindscape, the mental world or landscape of a person encompassing their thoughts, beliefs, and internal experiences. All of these are terms which are very significant to our present and inner experience, but the term mind is still important to understand. So let's go to a particular set of concepts to understand better what mind is, which is the part of a person that makes possible for to think, feel emotions, and understand things. Also, because this is not sufficient, we can understand it as a non-physical entity or an emergent property of the brain when it comes to individuals and with many forms. And yet, there is some questions that I would like to ask to the panel, because it's important for us to understand better what is it that we understand about the mind. The first question is the mind in us, or are we in the mind? Please feel free to share, and if anyone could help me to read the chat box, because I don't know how to look at it, I would appreciate. So please share your thoughts, your insights in relation to this particular question. Is the mind in us, or are we in the mind?
So Joshua said in us, and Cecilia likewise. So happy to help.
Okay,
In us.
there is another. I have it now, thank you. In us, perfect. I have another question. Maybe it's in both, but it depends on our set of our mindset and mind and focus of perception. We're going to explore further to see if that is true. One important question when we are exploring the mind, it's a particular experience of self, which is the observer, because we have to ask ourselves, who observes the mind? Because if we are observant of our emotions, somebody is being aware of them. If we see our thoughts, somebody is running that perception. If we experience the quality of our mind, whether it's accelerated in the inner dialogue, whether it gives us a sense of depression or anxiety, someone is observing the mind. And it is the most interesting and more elusive of mysteries in life. So in order to have a better understanding of this, I'd like to invite you to a particular practice that might take somewhat about 10 minutes. The name of this practice is pronounced scaling. It's a dynamic way of contemplating our inner experience. I would like to ask to the audience if there could be a volunteer so I can give a demonstration, and if time allows, we can do the practice on our own, and I will facilitate it through the microphone. So maybe someone would like to share a little bit of their experience so we can use it for this presentation. Who's the brave one who's going to do an exploration in their own experience? Who said I? Okay.
Oh, I'll jump in. Okay, I'm jumping in from Canada. How are you? I'm Sandra.
Thank you very much. What's your name?
I'm Sandra Horton. I'm also one of the speakers.
Sandra, nice to meet you, Sandra. Okay, this is a very interesting and easy way to address emotional structures, but it's going to give us a very deep insight of how we perceive our inner realm. So I'm going to ask you to elicit a memory, an event, or a particular situation in your life, something mild, nothing stressful at the top, in which you can relate that particular experience gives you a sensation, a feeling, or an emotion in your body. And just observe that experience. And if you will be kind enough to explain what is it that you are sensing as you observe that particular experience.
Would you like a positive experience or a fearful experience? What are you seeking?
It doesn't matter. It's okay. Whatever you choose, it's perfect.
Okay. And you'd like me to explain what I'm feeling and how I'm feeling it?
Yes, please.
So I am feeling absolute delight. I am feeling the inner turnings. I feel the energy is radiating outside of myself. I feel that my heart is open. I feel the positive frequency within me. And let me speak to the emotions. So I'm feeling joy and gratitude. I'm feeling uplifted, which is an emotion, but it's a feeling. I'm feeling uplifted that I get to share and be in that moment of acknowledging and standing in my truth and accomplishment of being able to reach the heights when I was able to complete my master's in leadership. And I'm stepping in it and I'm like, whoo!
Okay. Thank you very much.
Was that helpful?
Yes, very much. So the question is, what's inside that?
I have positively anchored myself within that situation and I draw upon it from within into circumstances or situations where maybe I'm not in the best of moods and I'm like, no, I can use that as a resource to step into that and bring it with me.
Short answers will help for the time matters.
Yep,
but
you bet.
What's inside that?
What is inside that? Learning.
And what's inside learning?
Happiness.
And what's inside happiness?
Self-love.
And what's inside self-love? And what's inside that side?
Just releasing and just accepting, loving of myself.
And what's inside that?
Overcoming.
And inside that?
Knowing that I am thriver. I'm a survivor.
How old is the I who is a survivor?
It's the I of the survivor. 10 years old, if I go back in time.
Okay. And what's inside 10 years old?
For self, childhood trauma.
And inside that?
A child.
And inside that?
Having gone through horrific experience.
Okay. And inside that?
I'm reflecting, nothing is coming. I'm going to say from my heart, it happened.
And now what happens?
It has made me the strongest woman I can be because of that growth and that journey.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed. Very, very appreciative of your experience and sharing your experience. Thank you. If each of you in the audience would like to experience a particular set of questionings on a particular experience at home, you just need to elicit a particular emotion. Once the emotion is felt in the body, you go inside the emotion, asking yourself what's inside that, what's inside that, and what's inside that, as many times needed, either to release the emotion and feel a state of peace or recognition of a higher experience, or maybe you will relate just as we did to an earlier personal pronoun from a particular age in the past, which happened to experience life in a particular set of structures. So just elicit this emotional experience and share in the chat if you want. We'll give it just 3 minutes so we can use the time wisely. And when I see that everybody's ready, I will continue. Whoever wants to comment while everybody else is contemplating, feel free to do so, and we can discuss along the chat or later on in the conference. What's inside that? What's inside that? Okay, I'm going to give a couple of more minutes and then we'll wrap it up. Okay, let's carry on. If you feel a little bit unsettled, you just need to breathe in, breathe out, move a little bit. If you feel probably different, you just abide in that particular experience. What I have blocked experience and emotions such that I do not remember a thing. Self-confidence, feeling safe and satisfied. It is a positive experience. Thank you very much, Cecilia. Primrose. I have a question for you, Primrose. Could you elicit the age of that I who has blocked experience? Just set up a particular age. We're not going to go further down into the experience. What has happened? This is important because we need to understand that this process allows us to elicit particular structures of mind. Could anyone share what did you discover? Some people are already doing that. How did you experience the object of your perception? Some of you have probably experienced it from the present self. Some of you might probably began to experience that exploration from the age of a little young version of us. What was the experience of the observer, of the perceiver? That state which is not moving, it's unattached, which informs of this particular exploration. And I would appreciate if you could share somewhat about your experience of the observer. If you want to write down in the chat box or you want to use the microphone, that's perfect. So this is a process that allows us to explore and realize that throughout our lives, we create different structures at different times and different ages. And how does this work? What we know, and this is from a particular experience working with dissociation and trauma, is that we as humans, we are embodied in this human body, which work like an antenna. This antenna is constantly cycling outward conscious energy in order to relate with the world, including our body, and it cycles back. That cycling is perceived through the senses, both internal and external. Then I give a meaning, I structure that, organize it in my brain, in my mind-body system, and therefore I create the version of reality of that particular observation. We're constantly cycling conscious energy throughout the day around ourselves and around the world. But sometimes, in a particular time, something happens, and then a trauma is presented. When a trauma happens, the cycle of awareness gets interrupted. There is a disturbance in the energy of the body. As you can probably relate, when somebody has a strong trauma, they are covered with a blanket and they are given a hot soup or tea in order to warm the body. That is because the life force has been cycling and stayed out of the body. And we have to invest more energy in order to create back that cycle of awareness and carry on with our lives. Unfortunately, when this happens, we create mind structures. And we have to understand that mind structures are created through these definitory moments, because there is a sense of self previous to the event, and there is a sense of self after the event. This is the reason why you can realize that you found someone who has 10 years of age or any other ages, even further down to your own conception in the womb of your mother. When that happens, the structure of the event creates a sense of self which stays frozen in its own age. This is what, in this common cliche that it's called the inner child, it's understood. The problem with the inner child is that rather than pampering and taking care of him, we need to rescue the inner child in order to release the experience of the structures and allow the psychic energy to connect with the present self. We will keep the flexibility, the naivete, the sense of exploration, curiosity of a child. Nevertheless, we are not going to carry the insufficient set of skills in which that kid experienced a problematic situation that traumatized himself or herself. These structures conform our internal collective. What does this mean? Whenever we have a defining moment and we create a structure, we begin stacking, just like the layers of an onion, structures over structures over structures over structures. That is the personal collective. We cannot separate from our body parts, but internally we are fragmented. Each of those fragments of mind communicate dynamically between each other from the very age of when the structure happened, therefore creating this sense of mind in which we have limitations, we have a not very friendly inner dialogue, our sense of awareness is limited, our ability to perform with the top skills, it's constrained. So we need to heal those structures in order to release this psychic energy and rebalance ourselves in order to recover all those magnificent qualities of a person, of a human being that we are. So we have to accept, or at least we can agree, that the inner structures set the conditions for our unconscious mindsets, mind frames, and ability or not to sustain proper focus and behaviors at every level. This is the reason when sometimes certain practices do not give us results consistently. This is the reason why we feel stuck and we cannot see the invisible bubble in which we are trapped, that mind frame which we cannot escape. This is how the mindscapes are defined, and we need to operate in that territory, which is let's say it's the hard disk of our memory and experience. So we need to heal all these conditions in order to attain a different sense of self. We have to understand that the inner psychic apparatus, which is mind, has different functions. The first one is the ego, which gives us the sense of I, the sense of we are the doers, the achievers. Sometimes the ego is so confused that, like a compass, it's magnetized and cannot point to the magnetic north. A proper ego will point to the magnetic north. giving us the proper information to understand that there is something bigger than our own self sense of individuality. Then there's intellect, which is the ability to make decisions, to make discernment and comparisons in order to develop our own sense of wisdom and perform properly in life. Then there is the thought process, which allows us to give a drive to our desires, but also it confuses us and gives us negative states because we are trapped into a mesh of incoherent thoughts which are not serving us because they are the echo of those past experiences that got frozen over time. And then we have memory, which is a recollection of all our experiences. All of these parts interact and dynamically collaborate in order to give us the present experience of mind. Unfortunately, that happens as well with each of our own fragmented selves. So you can think all the cacophony that happens inside in the unconscious mind. So the better thing that we can do is to heal and release these structures. The less structures we have, we get the better conditions for the proper right behavior in the right moment. And because today we've been using the trees, we can think of our bonsai like if it was our life. It's a metaphor. A bonsai, it's created so beautifully, so strong, because the unnecessary roots are trimmed, so we can only have the roots that give us the proper stability and rooting into the ground, and also the proper nourishment in order to create these magnificent beings. So life, it's just like a bonsai tree. The less structures we have, the better rooted we are in our bodies and in the life, and the better and the most nourishing abilities we develop in order to perform properly in our lives. So this is a very interesting metaphor for our own experience. So when this happens, we attain the knowing. The knowing can be understood from its attributes. First and foremost, we are fully associated and integrated, meaning that all the fragmentations in our body are healed. The integration means that all our set of skills, qualities, attributes, all our potential, our inner power, is fully functional, aligned with our higher values and our higher purposes and our highest nature. When we have this experience of the knowing, we live in an experience of no mind. The purpose is to be stable in silence and to experience the here and now with no conditioning, just pure beingness. From time to time, we will have experiences that will demand the mind to emerge, and then it will feel its purpose, which is giving us the understanding and the resolution of whatever life presents us, and then it will reabsorb into the void, attaining again a state of being in the here and now. Then we can learn that we can adapt, we can self-regulate, and we can learn and respond appropriately. Someone who has the least number of structures is able to discover, integrate knowledge, and be able to transfer it in different areas of life. If I'm a good cook, I'm a good chef, I can be a good leader. If I can be a good team leader, collaborator in the football team, I can probably do the same as a politician in society. Why? Because we have this ability to associate the underlying structures that operate within the social games and the social conditionings. That gives us the ability to have social wisdom as well. This is a natural state. It's not fixed, it's not framed, it's not attained through artificial practices. The natural state, it's the better. It is organic, and it allows us to have the proper discernment between the transitory experiences of life and the transcendent ones. It allows us to distinguish between the true nature of things and the very true nature of things, not necessarily the false nature. Sometimes this discernment goes to the very, very most subtle and refined need to understand life in order to grow consistently as humans, as a society, and as part of this universe. So now that we know the knowing, we can probably now relate to the state of the observer, because this is the true state of the observers, in which the true nature of mind reveals itself. Mind is consciousness. Mind is universal consciousness. So now that we know this, I ask you, what can happen? So I thank you very much for this brief presentation. I hope that you could learn something from this particular exercise. And if you have any questions on how to process your emotions, your internal experiences, I will be more than happy to provide you insights. So thank you very much. I hope that this has been insightful. Thank you. I think we're on time. That's very good. So let me present, if with no further ado, we can discuss further ideas later on. I want to present, it is my pleasure to invite Rajesh to the stage. Rajesh is a newly met friend from India. He's a renowned vigilant mindset mentor. He tops the LinkedIn researchers in his field. His journey, really inspiring, comes from struggling with the low self-worth and bullying that led to self-sabotage until the age of 16. He hit rock bottom until a mentor transformed his life. Despite cracking IIT entrance exams, he faced recurring self-doubt but persevered. He faced and rise from those challenges as an average engineer and developed until vice president at the top big five technology firms. At 42, he chose to retire early and live life on his own terms with his family. Today, Rajesh volunteers as a coach. He empowers IT senior managers and professionals to become top 1% leaders through his unique A method. I suppose we're going to learn more about this in a moment. He has coached over 100 professionals and authored the Amazon bestseller Aspire, The Will to Victory, which is backed by 40 testimonials and 6 remarkable case studies. So, ladies and gentlemen, prepare to be captivated by his compelling stories and walk away with 1 or 2 or 3 powerful takeaways that can transform your mindset and leadership. Please join me in welcoming Rajesh. Rajesh, welcome. The stage is yours.
Okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is a day I've been looking forward to for more than a year. I'm telling you, I have been looking forward to speaking to all these aspiring souls, superheroes who are here, and get a chance to learn and then share a few of what I have learned and coached. So I'm extremely honored to talk to all of you. So thank you. I'll get started. Arafat, I'll share the screen, yeah? It's coming?
Not yet.
Yeah.
It's coming. Yeah, we can see your screen. It's not in the full screen. You can make it full screen.
Is it full screen now? Yeah.
No, it's not a full screen.
Not yet.
I think Arafat, you can take over better.
Okay, fine. I'll do that.
Go to just be on slide 1. Yeah.
I will share it.
Yeah, just full screen that. Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So again, a veritable delight to all of you for having you here and all of you aspiring souls. People who come here have got a lot of aspiration in them. That's why they want to make a difference very positively to them and to the world. So I'm privileged to be one speck of that in this universe, and I welcome all these souls. Now, my topic is aspirational heartbeat was very clear to me, but I felt it is not clear to everybody. So I just told Arafat that I'll expand a little. Basically, it is on vigilant mindset, which helps people to become top 10% leader or performer. And it is, I'll explain that AW few as we go along, but the basic essence of what I'm talking is about vigilant mindset, which you will uncover slowly. Okay. I promise to make it interesting from my side, and feel free to share your views whenever it is required. Starting now. Now, don't move at all right now, Rafat. First question is basically now all of you can imagine that you are now it's late in the night. Imagine that you are relaxing somewhere in Thailand or Pattaya in a easy chair with the nice ocean in a daylight, and then in beautiful cliffs behind you. You are alone and you have had a vacation. Now you are relaxing and completely going free, and then a tsunami of wave comes suddenly. Rafat, I just want you to go to slide 2. Yeah. Yeah. So you can see, ladies and gentlemen, you are relaxing in the best time of your life. Without warning, a tsunami comes. Now, this has happened in 2004. It has recently happened in terms of an earthquake. 2011, I think it happened in Japan. So it happens anywhere in the world. Now, I want you to pause for a moment. What will you do at this time? What is the first thing you will do at this time? It's feel free. We'll have a minute to for people to process and talk about it. What will you do? Arafat, I'll ask you first.
In this situation, right?
Yeah, what will you do in this situation? I mean, you can see in front of you. It's a gigantic wave coming all through. Okay. There's nothing.
Yes.
You are just sitting on a chair. What will you do?
I think first thing which comes to my mind is run.
Okay, run. Okay, you think, okay, Arafat thinks his legs will take care. Anybody else? Feel free to interact. This is a very powerful thing. This is the core of what I
Yeah,
teach.
I will run for my life.
How will you? Okay, you will run for your life. Anybody else?
I would accept
Very good.
perhaps what is.
Okay, you'll accept. That's a good answer. Yes. Anybody else? Okay. In the interest of time, I'll stop here on this. See, two people have said they'll run, but imagine where you are and imagine the waves. Its entire ocean is coming. Do we have the slightest chance? Even James Bond can't do it. Okay, he solves everything. So, what I would say at this particular point in time is that just be still and pray, or have faith that you will be protected, and there is a chance that you will come out of it. There is a chance. I'm not saying you will, but there's a good chance. But your legs probably, I don't know whether it'll save you, because it's rocks on this side, trees. You'll be just an easy potato for those waves. So the moot point of this is this can strike anybody. And I am telling from personal experience that when in December 24, 2004, the tsunami struck Malaysia, Indonesia, and the Bay of Bengal, I was in Pondicherry with my wife in a car on a marine drive in Pondicherry, going slowly. When I saw to my left the sea rising a little and becoming rough, that's all. I felt, what's the big deal? I mean, I have seen this during full moon time, so what is the big deal? I was just going through that road and then went to my mentor's place, and the TV was running. It was telling 20 people have died in Chennai. I vividly remember this because this was 8:30 a.m. that day. That actually shocked, I mean, gave me a terrible shock. Now, the place where I drove, that was actually a safe place. 1 kilometer behind that and 2 kilometers further, actually, it was swamped by the sea completely. It was swamped by the Bay of Bengal. I wondered what is the special privilege I had to be saved at that time. What was the thing I did? I am like anybody else. About 125,000 people perished that day. Now, what is the big deal I have done that I merited or my wife merited that we were protected that day? That shook me completely. Anyway, I thank God that day again. I said again, I'll say again why I said later, that I was spared and consider myself very fortunate. Now, this comes when you are an aspiring soul. You are not a drifting soul. Like all of you have come here, you have come with a very core purpose of leading a higher life, an aspirational life. That is the first tenet of my coaching or principle I follow. And the principle says, I will come to the principle in the next slide. So this is the first mood point of my vigilant mindset, which is aspiration of the being, and you be in that state. The next slide, which Arafat has come, this is on Buddha. Now, how many of you know that Buddha was not religious? He was never behind the concept of a personal God at all. Buddha was in search of truth. He knew that there was huge misery in life, and he wanted to find out what is the secret by which people can escape. He can escape. Buddha was so upset when he went in a chariot to find out about life. And when his father was sure that he will not become an ascetic, when it was ordained that he will become one, he was completely shaken. He just couldn't be in the palace. And one fine night, leaving his beautiful wife and a handsome son, he left in search of truth. There was no question of a God or anything. Why is this misery coming to us? He wanted an answer. And with that stupendous will, he searched and searched for, I think, decades and decades. And finally, in front of the Bodhi tree, as we can see, he got the enlightenment as to what is the problem in life. Now, that came from Buddha, who didn't have a mentor, probably, or didn't find others to be at the level. It came from an invincible will from Buddha. In the last 2500 years, it is very, very impossible to find somebody with such a will like Buddha who could realize what is truth. Okay. Now, having come to this level also, he could achieve a victory at his personal space. I will explain what it is in the next slide. Arafat. Now, I couldn't get a better version of a picture, but the point is very clear. You see a white, small aura around Buddha, okay? That protects him from all kinds of hostile forces, demonic forces, women who are trying to tempt. Buddha got his realization and was immune to any temptation, but he didn't change the world. All right? He didn't change the world, and he didn't believe in a personal God. But this is the price he got after years and years of invincible willpower. Now, I will tell why I have said this in the context of the coaching. Arafat, next slide. Now I tell about the vigilant mindset. Now we have two things. One is the aspiration element, which I said, for people who believe in a higher power or a divine power. And the next is the willpower. Now, as you can see, the aspire will method, once you have both and they are congruent with each other, overlapping to the extent possible, you develop this vigilant mindset. Okay. Now, we are in the blue one, it is somewhat there because some of your willed actions and some of your aspiration are not aligned. So your blue is like that. In the green aspiration and will circle, you have a very small overlap. And on the top right, you have the aspiration and will almost merging, and you become a powerhouse of a vigilant mindset. I'll come to this vigilant mindset a little bit more, but this is the core essence of what I teach my coaches on what vigilant mindset. Now, some of you, again, like Buddha, may not believe in a personal God, very noble creatures and having aspiration, but they are very having strong faith in themselves. Now, even those people, they can achieve their goal with a combination of just three things. Okay, the will must be I'm sorry. The effort must be continuous for them. The faith should be unshakable, and the will should be unfalterable. Okay, if these three are there, and you get the combination of all this, you get a smaller mindset at the intersection of these circles, which is a little lesser than the aspiration and will, but still is a very powerful method. And this is what I teach my coaches. Now, once you get this vigilant mindset, it opens something completely interesting. Okay. Now, why I am saying it is completely interesting, because even the most insignificant, idiotic interaction you have in daily life from morning till night gives you a very interesting insight. Now, this happens over a period of time because we have got multiple personalities in us. We are not one pointer, we have multiple personalities. So it takes a lot of time to integrate them, and that's why this overlap is there before we come to the core essence of vigilant mindset. I'll be my own personal example. I read about this vigilant mindset in 1990. Till 2000, I mentally understood. I think it took another 5 years to understand, oh, this is what is vigilant mindset. Another few more years to really get it as a dominating feature before it became a part of me. So this is not easy, and to get even some sense of vigilant mindset is very difficult unless you have a mentor. Okay, this is a moot point, and this is the essence of my point on vigilant mindset, which is the core thing for anybody to become a top performer in life, which includes work. Now, when I say in life, because you can't have a very great work achievement and then suck at your life. I'll give examples. In India, we have the great director Guru Dutt. Most of the Indian celebrities have a terrible personal life, except for Shah Rukh Khan, who has achieved everything. Even Meryl Streep's marriage is gone. So unless you have this vigilant mindset to a great degree, which I have said in two sides, one who has a faith in divine power, there is one aspect, and those who have faith in themselves, another aspect. Okay, next slide, Rafat. Now, exactly. So the first thing I am giving the cornerstone. If the aspiration is there in you, if the will is there in you, it is absolutely certain that sooner or later you will succeed. Now, this is not a mental algorithm I had coined. This is a very principle which my mentor taught and a principle which I follow. It is from collected works of Mother. Okay, I follow that, and it is clear. Now, it is written sooner or later you will succeed is a measure of your aspiration and your willpower. The consonance of that is important. So, as you saw on the previous slide at the top, if it is more than overlapping, you will achieve it very fast. And that is the core of vigilant mindset. Now, there are two pictures here, one about a big log and another about somebody lying on a nursing table. Both are me, okay. The first case is the case when I told, and George also said, I was an average engineer. I got to work with a very high performing, super achieving boss. And then we worked in a government job where we had to select about $40,000 worth of wood, which my boss couldn't do. He's extremely competent, but he dumped it on me. I tried to escape, but I couldn't do. Finally, it landed on me to clear. Now, I was shivering. This was at the age of 21. I was shivering with fear that I got caught. Then finally, the wood got rejected. I got a mail saying, letter saying 80% rejected. I thought I am done. I'm finished. 80% rejection of $40,000 is done. So my boss from Chennai asked me to sort it out. I went there and then saw the carpenter immediately. And then he looked up and down saying he was surprised that the moment he wrote a letter, somebody has come to see him. I told him that I have done this work with all faith and goodwill with my whatever my engineering taught me. He said that there are a lot of cracks, there are barks. I can't use it for the government job. It is impossible. I told him I have done the best. And that carpenter was an 80-year-old man. I told him, you are 80 years, you have probably 4 times my age and wisdom. It's not fair for you to talk to me like that. I have done my job and I leave it to you humbly to clear it. That's all I said. It was a matter of 10-minute talk. He again looked up at me and said, okay, my boy, all the logs are cleared. I will figure out a way to fix everything. That's all. Now, you think left to my intelligence or whatever capability I had, I would have solved it? Impossible. I just had the aspiration and a little of will. That's all. And more of aspiration. I just prayed to God, thank you, and then they went away. Okay. And Why? Because I had another storm brewing in my current work, so I didn't even recognize this victory for a long time. But the second part is somebody lying on a hospital table. That's again me. At the age of 27, I was posted in Assam, where I had the second attack of malaria, and my energy was going daily out, and there was no friends to take care, no people to take care of me. I was dying. Fifth day, and every day the temperature used to go at 105. Now, then I decided that I will die. So somehow I dragged myself to the doctor, the only doctor who had 20 patients. I owed to them saying that allow me to go, otherwise I'll die in front of them. Then I met the doctor. The doctor looked up on me, up and down, and said, "Why have you come now? You are done for," he said. So a little bit of faith I had also went. Then he said, "Reluctantly, I'll admit you." Then he admitted me into the emergency ward. And till the time I went to emergency ward, I had no faith. You people, I don't know whether you understand what is the loss of faith. It is the very fabric of your life is gone. But I lost that for hours and then regained that, and I made a pact with God. I will change my life if I survive. And 27 is no age for me to die. I somehow made it back in 3 weeks. I just kicked my job out that I should live to fight another day. And then in 6 months, I changed my career. I became a project leader in a good software firm. Now, these are two examples of aspiration will which really work with me. I'm sure you guys also will have such similar stories. Next slide, Rafat. Any questions or is it going too fast? Okay. I told on the aspiration will method, which is a cornerstone of vigilant mindset. Now I come to this faith, effort, and will combination. The will must never falter, the effort continuous, and the faith unshakable. Then instead of spending years to realize what you have to do, you can do it in a few months and sometimes in a few days. And if the intensity is there, a few hours. I'll make the long story short. I was humiliated in class 6 and was made to kneel down for about 8 hours. In the second hour, I took a courage in my hands, went to the principal, complained against the teacher for unfairly punishing me, and got back to the class. Okay, this is what I mean by the faith should be unshakable. At that time, I had the faith that no, I will not tolerate this. And when you are a 11-year-old guy, it is impossible. I don't know how I did that. Then I was humiliated in my neighborhood by bullies who were 6 years older than me. I couldn't do anything. But when I was 16 and I was very strong, there was a cycle race. I beat the hell out of them by a mile. Okay, they were all stunned. They were racking me for 7 years. One time I beat them by a mile. I got my respect, everything back in that one instant. That is what I mean by the few method. You can achieve something in a few months, sometimes in a few days, and if the intensity is there, a few hours. This is exactly what I teach my coaches to become strong and make their lives bold and beautiful by this principle of few. Next slide, Rafat. Now, I'll give a couple of small examples in the interest of time. One time in my organization where I worked first year, my boss asked me to make $40,000. Get it from the year. You have worked a lot. I thought my boss has gone mad. There is no way we can get 2,000 or 3,000, but you have to get 40,000. But since he had the faith in me, I said, yes, there must be a way. With his faith, I went through the contracts and found out a erection loophole of heat exchangers where they put one flange over the other and they don't weld. But they again took the flange and welded. So it was a re-erection in construction parlance. So there were about 20 exchangers and costing quite a big amount of money. I could get that $40,000 in 2 days. It was purely a vigilant idea which came at that time. Now, do you think I was great in engineering? Absolutely not. But when there was a faith which my manager put on me, I turned it around. Now, this was from the age of 25, and right side you see a case where I had, with no knowledge of coding, was able to confront a very highly talented junior who thought she could fool me around during a software release and get away with it. I got her admitting her fault in 90 minutes with no knowledge of software coding, purely by the simple fact of vigilantly asking her to put everything in whiteboard. And she admitted finally it was her mistake. Now, that was the biggest game changer at 35, that you can solve problems which you think you can't. You can solve problems, complex problems which you think you really cannot. You just need to have this vigilance. I just took a decision that I will ask her, went with, as an adventure without knowing anything, but was sure that I will crack it, and I cracked it. So these are two examples. Now, the reason why I am overloading you with all examples is that you can be at any point in anywhere, any age, but you can have a lot of unsteadiness. You can have time conflicts, priority conflicts, speaking conflicts, whatever it is. I have had all these things, what I have named. And then I was able to rise to a vice president, and subsequently I could retire at 42. Now, if I can do it, and most of you are very independent, have a better circumstances than me. You are not bullied for 7 years, not hated by your teachers. You can come from a better circumstances relatively. You can achieve a lot. You can achieve a lot by just following this vigilant mindset. Now, I try to put everything what I can in this for you to get an idea of what it is going to be. Next slide, Arafat. Now, I didn't say what is the target audience. Now, I'll tell you what is the target audience which I've been doing. For you to get top, this gives you the ability to go to the top. Top 10% I have put, you can go to top 1% also. This is basically for busy professionals, shy IT managers, and committed business leaders. All these people I have coached, and it is there in my book, Aspire the Will to Victory, and the testimonials are also there. Now, many of you can have a different perception of what top 10% is. That I have listed down. And what I do basically is to go through a diagnosis to find out where you are on a scale of 1 to 100. Now, you can be at 30, you can be 40. The whole intent is to make you feel comfortable with where you are, and also make you achieve 90 to 100 by the vigilant mindset coaching I do. That's all. Now, this you can achieve despite what you are, because despite what I was, I could achieve. All of you could be far, far talented than me. So you can achieve, and you will achieve. Next slide, Arafat. Now, here are some examples of other people who have used this vigilant mindset. The first scene is Tom Cruise as Lieutenant Caffey dethroning Colonel Jessup in A Few Good Men by a simple line, "Did you order the code red?" in an appropriate time that he blurts out and confesses, and then seals. Now, till that particular point in time, Tom Cruise is about to be court-martialed or even thrown out. He, just before losing, he wins, okay, by a single right phrase. And this is exactly what vigilant mindset does. You are put in positions where you find opportunities coming. You will be stunned to find how this has come right now in front of me, or how I was saved. I'll give one more example. Sam Manakshaw. He is one of the field marshals of Indian Army. He is the only field marshal whom I know, or I have read, and I may be limited, who challenged Prime Minister Indira Gandhi not to teach him how to fight war, and was about to be dismissed as a general. But because of his great faith and aspiration and the commitment he had for the nation, he managed to, she managed to agree with him and side. And he himself has said, there is a very thin difference between a dismissed general and becoming a field marshal. Now, this is the level of thing which a vigilant mindset does. Now, there are three other examples which you already know. I'll just name them. One is Roger Federer, who just won 54% of points in 20 years, but got 20 Grand Slams. Just half the number of points, a little more he won. His point was simple. I focus only on the point. After winning, I forget it and go to the next point. That's all. He's so vigilant on that particular aspect. On the bottom side is Vasily Zaitsev, which you know was a Russian sniper who had 242 kills, who changed the World War on the side of Russia from being lost to Germany. And to the bottom right is Terry Fox. Terry Fox is an inspiration for generations and millenniums. With one foot, he walked thousands of miles in North America with a simple line: I will walk unto the next pole, and the next pole, and the next pole. And then he did all this with a supreme will, with a great aspiration that all the money people will give, he'll donate it for Cancer Foundation. So if you have this kind of aspiration in you and the will in you, you are determined to achieve fast, sooner or later. It develops your vigilant mindset and you will succeed. Next slide, Arafat. I think they're almost done. Okay, this is my book to the right, and all my testimonials are there at the top, numi.com. For senior level people who want to converse with me or want to talk to me, you can go to aharajesh.com, and rajhari.com is for people who are not so senior, and LinkedIn site link is there at the bottom. So if you want to, my point is that when I converse with people and you talk to them to see whether you can do or you cannot do, it is quite possible. We do it as a level playing field, and only after a detailed diagnosis only I take, because I have to be fair and they also have to be fair. Next slide, Arafat. Yeah, as I said, vigilant mindset, which is an integration of aspiration and will, or faith, effort, and will, gets you results fast. Many of my fast results I have published in my book, and this helps you to become a top performance leader. Now, you can go from 40 to 90, 90 plus on a scale of 100. And the point is, you have to remain there with the vigilant mindset. It is not like an interview of Indian Administrative Service or Trump's right hand that once you get there, you'll be saved. No, you have to remain at 90 plus, and that is a continuous effort which you have to put. And lastly, I'm saying, you are talking too much of vigilant mindset. How do I get it? You can have it with one hobby. The only hobby I have which has developed a lot, and that is very pretty simple. Now I live in a house where I can go from one corner of the house to another corner of house in a diagonal way, walk or jog with my eyes closed. For years together I have done that. So I do that and let myself free. The body is free, the mind is free, everything is free, and the legs are just doing. Now the body is happy that it is doing its exercise. The mind is happy that I have let it go, and then I just run for about an hour. When you do that, ideas just come like a beautiful angel onto your head. Beautiful. You try this out. I'm sure you will get it in no sooner than what I got. You will get ideas. Just write it on your whiteboard or on a pocketbook. Yesterday, Sonali said Elon Musk has a pocketbook. I have pocketbook myself because I don't use the cell phones much. And Arafat asked us a question: how do you get over this media toxicity? It's very simple. Have one non-media hobby to substitute this meaningless media and idling content. That's all. This one hobby of mine is enough for me. And I'm saying you, I was a media addict in terms of cell phone. I've consciously dragged, and despite being an IT guy, I use only this pocketbook. This will take you off all your trappings to media. And if you live this, your children, they will also, you are the role model. If my dad is not seeing media, why should I? You don't have to say anything. They'll follow your line. Try this exercise out, and I'm sure you will get cracking. You will know on your own what is vigilant mindset. Okay, this is all I had to share. And going to the last one, this is the key takeaway. These are the 3 key takeaways. As I said, if you are vigilant, you change every circumstance of your life. If you are vigilant, you can do it in a few days, what can otherwise take years. There are plenty of Indian sages who have done that. It is recorded. Now, again, how to do that? You should have aspiration and will. And if you believe in higher power, this is the combination. Or if you are like Buddha or a self-confident person of faith, then you should have just these 3 elements: unshakable will, unfaltering faith, and also continuous effort. That's all you need. I just reiterate that in my coaching to get results. I hope this was insightful to you, and I'd be happy to take questions if you have for this or for the entire thing. So, gratitude to all of you. As I said, I was looking forward to this session for more than a year because it's very rare you get an audience like this, comrades like this, who are equally, if not greater than you, and that rubs it onto you. I learned a lot in all the 4 sessions. I hope I could give you something in return in my session. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rajesh. Thank you so much for that wonderful, insightful presentations. And thank you all our coaches who shared their insights and experiences and their personal life stories, great contents. Thank you, all the speakers. So it's the time for questions. So if anyone who have any questions, please raise your hands and feel free.
Yeah, before we go on, thank you, Arafat. But for your moving the slides, I would have gone berserk. Okay, so thank you. Thank you for pitching it vigilantly at the last minute. Thank you.
You did it. Great. Sonali, you had some question? Sonali?
Yes. So my question is for Rajesh. When you said about the whiteboard confrontation, like what does it actually involve?
Oh, beautiful. Okay. It involved that, see, a software release had gone south. Okay. There were client escalation as to why it has happened. I was a project manager and I had a project leader. My project leader was adept in coding. I was nothing in that area. But the release, the responsibility comes to a project manager. So she was actually playing truant for a long time. I didn't know how to size her up. This came as a golden opportunity, but I had no weapon with me how to size her up. So the best weapon is let her talk. Let her make her talk why this has happened. She is very confident that it's a question of I am an underdog. She underestimated what her boss was. She went on writing in whiteboard, this happened as a step 1, this happened as step 2. Like that, it went for 90 minutes. I kept asking questions to her again and again. And finally, at a point, it came that yes, this happened and the release has happened. Who did this particular job? She said, I did. Then you are responsible. So, in that 1 second, all her goodwill or facade of great performer crashed in front of others. That's why I say it's a vigilant mindset.
So if I can just continue the question, then can you use this is what I've understood. Whiteboard is she's writing down all the points, highlights, features, whatever. Can you use it in a coaching session as well? Say, for example, I have a coachee client. Say she and her husband are having some relationship issues. Though I have in my head, I've identified her triggers and the communication gaps and things like that. Could you use the whiteboard technique in front of your coachee? I mean, how could you incorporate it? Is my
You should
question.
absolutely use the whiteboard coaching if it necessitates. It is absolutely, and your client will thank you because you are listening to her. You are not just nodding your head. Everything what she says is imprinted. You write in whiteboard, correct that, and then take a snapshot and give her. I'm telling you, she'll be 10 times grateful to you. So you are dead serious and committed to solving your clients. I can't think with my, okay, you are great to think with your mind. I can't think with my mind. I need a pocket book to write and think, like the movie Gajini, or I need a whiteboard. And I was ridiculed by everybody, but I didn't care. This is my way. This is a unique way. I am happy with it. Go ahead. Nobody will stop
Sorry,
you.
so just going back, so basically you would ask questions and let them put it on the whiteboard, highlight whatever the issues,
You can ask,
triggers,
yeah,
let
you
them
can write,
write it in their own handwriting.
no, no, you can write it for them. If you are doing a virtual call, you write. Or you can write it in a paper and also share it with them. They love it, I'm telling you.
Okay,
You should do it. It's a must.
good. Thank you.
Thank you for asking that question.
Thank you. Cecilia, I see your raised hand.
Okay, thanks. Thanks everybody for this. It was a very interesting session again today. And well, sometimes I could hear better or not. Anyway, I've got a question for the first speaker. I think his name is Vivian, right? Because I'm not very good in names. Anyway, for Vivian, you talked about adversity, and you said if you become aware of adversity, you can try and do your best in order to fight against adversity. But my question is, okay, you are aware of it, but there might be some, let's say, external forces which might prevent you from doing or what you want or from reaching your ultimate goal. How, I mean, what do you suggest?
Actually, Vivian is not here right now. He is
Oh.
still facing the network issue. So he went to fix that. I can't see him rejoin now.
He's got questions, problems?
I will definitely share this question with him. Okay, so I have a question for our coaches for today. Jorge, Ike, Rajesh. It's a simple, basic question, but a lot of my coaches have asked me the same. The question is, how can someone rebuild their mindset after a major failure or a betrayal or burnout? Somewhat. But the whole motivation feels completely lost. At this point of stage, how can someone rebuild their mindset?
Arafat, I can answer that based on experience. See, before doing performance coaching, I was doing marriage relationship again accidentally. Then, because of my 24 years marriage, cases came to me and I solved. And one case which I've written in the book is about a lady having 2 children. She left her husband 2 times and was on the verge of the final divorce hearing. And she came to me just a week before that. I had a number of sessions with her, drawing her out, finding out her view, also her husband's view, and prove to her that you are responsible for this. Your husband is clean, whatever his flaws. You better apologize to your husband and make it up, and he's still accepting you before the divorce. Please do it. She accepted that. He thanked me fervently, and she is living her life of her dreams. Now, this is the second time betrayal, okay? She has not called me ever since. I am thinking she's living her life of her dreams. Now it purely depends on who's the coach who's talking and the authenticity of both the coachee and coach. Mindset can be built. And in my performance also, I have done a number of self-sabotage myself. I have dipped from 90 to 40, 50. Again, I didn't feel there 40. I am a living testimony of the maximum number of self-sabotage to my own self I have done for many years. So, having gone through a virgin forest and lost the way many times, I can clear the way for people to walk like a Grand Trunk road to some extent. That's all I can say.
Thank you, Rajesh. Ike, would you like to add something?
Yeah, so I mean, first of all, it depends always on the situation, right? So it's not I don't want to say it's always that easy, you know, and there is no magic recipe. Actually, it's a journey, and it definitely depends on, let's say, how resourceful the person is. So I'm always mindful as well around, you know, how assertive and resourceful a person can be. I mean, having been in this field for some time now, sometimes people might really run on both of this, and then they need definitely something else to work on before they can really restore. So yeah, it's a journey, it's a process, but a mindset definitely, if the resources allow, it's a step-by-step approach. So I always say, you know, never target the Mount Everest here. Always go in little steps and things which you can do from now to today, and then, you know, have a really nice time frame as well. And then identify maybe 2 or 3 things you can do, because if we have too many things, then what happens, you know, then usually our brain kicks in and then we say like, oh, okay, that's too much. Forget about this and just don't start doing anything. So maybe focus on just 2 or 3 little things, and then you can slowly build up and change mindset. Change never happens overnight. and a mindset or how we approach things takes time.
Thank you, AK. It's a journey,
It's
and
a
once we are
journey.
rebuilding, and once we are rebuilding, we have to make sure we are building it stronger. So believe in the process, right? Thank you. Jorge, you want to add something? You wish to add something?
Sure. Would you like a technique so you can apply it and break those limiting experiences from one day to another? Change can happen from day to day. Okay, this is a practice, and if you would like to write down the instructions, because everybody can do this practical exercise. Of course, as AK very well pointed out, everything is contextual, so we need details. But this is a general process that can help you to release the emotions which are related to this particular experience. It will allow for more clarity. It will help us to identify certain patterns that we have held throughout the context that we're going to explore, and eventually we're going to release a lot of emotions, a lot of mind structures, which are related to the right side of the brain kind of trauma. The right side, the trauma that relates to the right side of the brain, it's like a loop that never stops. The left side, it's a location in time and space. So we're going to address that particular trauma. Why? Because we always tell ourselves stories. So we're going to bust the story that we told ourselves. I'm not good enough, this guy do this, and everything that has to do with the context. So what you want to do, and this is the instructions for the exercise, you are going to write the story, in the case of your client, the story of her failures. And it should be as far as probably when she was in school, because the nature of how she experienced the present situation in life has some conditioning, some past experiences. So we have to dig deeper into our own life. So for this particular client, you ask her, write the story of your what was the word I said? The story of your failures,
Yes.
right? Once the story is told, and this has to be to the detail, and it's really like a biography, it's going to take a lot of time. Once the story is written for the first time, you have to ask her to write the story about 7 times, and each time she changes or she tells the story again, the story is going to grow smaller and smaller and smaller until there is no story to write about. When that happens, the completion of the process has finished. So it's a very safe process to address particular experiences in life, just like you pointed out. But if you want to use this process for yourselves, as just as a personal practice, write the story of your relation with the world around, from the very earliest memories you have to the present times. It's going to take a lot of time. Ideally, you have to buy some A4 paper, which is like a big sheet of papers that you can write, like if you were in a whiteboard. Buy many of those pages so you can write extensively with a crayon, color crayons, so you can display like a canvas of all your story. It's going to take time. It might move a lot of emotions, but you have to carry with the process, carry with the process, carry with the process. 7 times, about 7 times. Some people process the story and they finish before the 7 times, and some people might have a lot of story to tell, so it might take a little further, but you have to stick to the process. For some people, it takes days. For some others, not that much. So you can give the instructions to your friend and she can work safely at home, and you can just hold the space for her being there so she knows that she's not alone. And for you, my friends, who choose to do this process, you just have to, let's say, set a weekend so you don't have any distractions. Very important not to have distractions, and dedicate yourselves to write as much as possible with the most detail as possible. 7 times the story. You can tell the story from a different perspective. What is the story of that story? Or you can tell the story from the perspective of another person, the boss, the collaborator, our fathers, our sisters, our daughters, because these perspectives are going to give us insights on how the people and the world interacts with us and also the projective energy that we receive, because that triggers a lot of emotions. And if you have any questions, if you would like to have a consultation with me so we can work on the details of the process, just Arafat, we can probably share our email, and I will be more than happy to hold the space for you so you can do this practice. It's a very safe, it's very powerful, and it's very simple. Just tell the story. To begin with, there's much to do, but I will do that.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Jorge, for adding that points and about that techniques.
Welcome. And I hope
So,
it bears a lot of great fruits in your practice.
great. So I can't see any further questions or any raised hands. So for today, we are going to wind up. Before that, let me share you what we are gonna bring next. So we continue. Today it was the final day of the category mindset. We had 2 days of great mindset sessions by great, amazing experts. So we move on to the category business on April 26th, and on 27th, we move on to the topic communication. So on 26th, great coaches from Malaysia, Kelvin from Malaysia, Edmund from Singapore, Gavin from UK, Florian from Austria, Subayu from India, Martha from Dominican Republic, and Michael from USA will be sharing their great knowledge and experience on April 26th. So stay tuned. So have a great day, great evening. Good night, everyone. See you on April 26th.